You're listening to Unkillable.
If you didn't kill us last night, we are unkillable.
Hosted by Brandon Tierney.
And I guess it's taken me 9 episodes, or really 8 full ones in the start of this one, to really realize something that I really hoped that I would never realize. And that is that we are beyond fucked, more so than I ever possibly thought. There are a couple of types of owners of teams who don't win, right? There's the cheap owner. And the cheap owner just drives you nuts because, you want him to spend some money, bring in some free agents, and for whatever reason, he doesn't do it. And it drives you nuts. Like the Rays. I'll give you an example. Rays are a well-run franchise, but they don't spend a lot of money. I think a better example would be the Oakland A's, who, their stadium issues and a small army of borderline Hall of Famers leaving a procession of really good players because they didn't want to pay him. That's the cheap owner, all right? That's not Woody Johnson. It's actually much worse than that. Woody, and then there's the clueless owner, all right? And that's frustrating, obviously, because you have an owner who doesn't know anything. That's not even Woody, although that seems to fit the description of Woody. It's worse than that. Woody Johnson is the clueless owner, and this is the most dangerous combination of all, the clueless owner who actually thinks that he knows stuff. He knows nothing. And it has come to the surface today and really this year just how lost and how pathetic and how inept he is. I honestly don't know if this is salvageable. I truly don't. And I really don't subscribe to that stuff because you're only a hire away from a competent mind. Hey, look at the New York Knicks. I think a lot of people, including myself, had that opinion of their owner. Well, guess what? He hired the right person, and Leon Rose, let him cook for a little bit, let him clean up the roster, get some assets, make some moves. And here we are. The Knicks are humming, 3 straight wins, should win 50 plus, and are on the short list again to get to the NBA, at least the conference finals, and maybe beyond, okay? Woody Johnson he is just unacceptably pathetic at his job. How the hell does this guy think that he's got I don't want to say the right, because it's obviously his team, but the knowledge to impart anything on anybody from a football perspective as a directive, and we can understand this, the guy who's got all the money, if he saddles up to the GM or the coach, hey, listen, I know we're in a rough spot. And, I was thinking maybe if we messed around and we tried this. And of course, the coach is sitting there like, all right, buddy, just cut the checks. But, you placate him and you really don't listen to him. And you're certainly not going to act on what he tells you to do because it's a soft suggestion and you don't take it seriously. But let me just get this right. Apparently, Woody Johnson, very, very well written and in-depth piece in The Athletic here. So not only did he want Aaron Rodgers benched basically a month into the season, which in itself is just mind-numbingly dumb, he nixed a Bryce Huff deal. He forced the Devontae Adams trade. He sabotaged a trade for Jerry Jeudy. He forced the signings of Mike Williams and Tyron Smith, one of whom is gone and one of whom is done. I mean, it is really, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. When I started this endeavor here with the Unkillable pod, the objective, the mantra was, no matter how much you beat us down, because of our resilience and because of our toughness and our ability to just plow forward and forge ahead with all the nonsensical bullshit that you put in our way, we still find a way, not from a records perspective, but as a fan, emotionally, to circumvent all the nonsense that you put in front of us because we love this team. We love the colors of the jersey behind us, and we love the people who wore them, when we were young. That's how we all connect. And for me, it was Wesley Walker and Klecko and Gastineau and Lance Mel. And then obviously after that, Al Toon, and they get a Corbett and all those guys. And you're locked in, you're a Jets fan. What Woody Johnson has proven this year is that they can never win with him. They can. Now, I don't know how it came up, but a couple of pods ago, with Willie, we were talking not about politics per se, so I don't get into it on the air, but I asked Willie, what's it like in a climate that was shortly after the election when President Trump won, Donald Trump won, soon to be president. I said, what's it like in the locker room when there's a polarizing social issue? And Willie's it was awesome. I would recommend that you go check it out. He's a straight shooter. He's just a real dude. And I wanted his perspective on something like how deep do players get into, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, whatever it might be, something that's obviously highly sensitive and provocative and divisive and all that stuff. And he told me, and it was very interesting. I don't say what I'm about to say to give you any political inclinations or anything, but if you didn't vote for Donald Trump and you are a Jets fan, at least that is your solace that maybe this is the only thing that can salvage the Jets, because we have to pray on bended knee that he packs up his bags again and takes a role, preferably overseas in the UK again. Not that it worked the last time with Woody when he abandoned the team, and that he just gets the hell away from the building. Because if he doesn't, it's over. That is a wrap. I mean, I can already almost predict, if he stays, right, what the next 10 years are going to look like. Nobody worth a grain of salt is going to say, oh, yeah, I want to go work for that guy. That seems like somebody that I can be successful with, somebody that can get in my way and completely subvert me and tell me, what quarterback I should draft and who I should sign and what I should do. So if he stays, you'll get a coach who is just thrilled to have one of 32 jobs. And I get it. I'm not disparaging that person. You get an opportunity, you take it. And when you're knocking on the door to be a head coach, generally you tend to, if you get the offer, you have your checklist and you have good and bad, but because you want to become a head coach so badly, you tend to illuminate or maybe fixate more on the good and just gloss over the bad, right? Well, the next 10 years will look like this if Woody's still here. He will get a head coach who he's able to push around and tell him what to do. And that person will either acquiesce, which will make it worse because Woody knows nothing about football. You can take, now you can't do this literally, but I am convinced that you could take whatever in 20 plus years, because I know he's never taken a meaningful snap, not even at the peewee level. So it's maybe what he's learned by osmosis, just being around, right? Hearing something. You could take what Woody Johnson knows about the sport of football, the construction of a team, leading men, building a roster, all those things, how to go from bad to competitive, from competitive to good, from competitive to elite, all the different steps that are entailed in building a team. You could take all that, all of it, and you could put it in a non-literal thimble, and you will have 90% space left in the thimble when you put in that non-literal thimble what he knows, because he knows nothing about football. And that's a dangerous combination. Like, I'm laughing now because you almost have to, but I said on the radio today, I'm like, all right, so you go to the drugstore, one of the kids is sick, or you go to pick up something for yourself or your wife, right? And you go to the pharmacist, you're waiting in line, and you get the medicine, and then the pharmacist starts giving you advice on how to change oil, right? Or something with your car, or I don't know, stock advice. Not that they can't be, stock savvy, but they're not an economist. It's not what they do for a living. It is so bad, and it is seemingly so without salvation right now that I don't know what to tell you, except that it's worse than I thought. And that is the strongest indictment that I can levy to any sport in our city. Woody Johnson is an absolute train wreck, and he's the most kind of dangerous. He thinks he knows a lot, and he knows absolutely nothing. But because he's got the ownership papers, and he's got the deep pockets, and because it's a rudderless franchise with no proven winners in the building, except, oh yeah, the guy that you wanted to bench after 1 month, the one guy who actually knows something about winning, and Tyron Smith, who can't move anymore. It's amazing. It is really, really amazing. So I guess the only hope here would be is if he goes to somebody, here we go, let's trot out the names. We do it every Belichick, not happening. Vrabel, maybe. I would love it, but probably not. Gruden, maybe, because Gruden's desperate. The Jets are desperate. Maybe that's a fit. But you're not getting anybody that's going to come in here that's worth anything, that's built anything, that has sustained anything, that's been behind anything consistently good, okay, that is going to sign up for this willingly without a concession of power from Woody Johnson. And you can establish that contractually. Like, you don't think that GMs and coaches have it written within the parameters of their respective contracts? I've got control of player personnel. I've got control of the roster decisions. That's the way it goes. That's why you have lawyers. That's why you have powerful agents who devise something that is beneficial to their client. And there's no way, unless he is so shamed and so desperate that he actually does do a real deep dive internally, and he comes up with the determination that the only way that this could be, I'm not even going to say fixed, but at least maybe put on the tracks and maybe slowly start moving in the right direction, because success, that's miles down the road.